This video is for code.org lesson 9, level 15, Sprite movement. What you're going to do first is you're going to open up a new tab, and you're just going to search for something. For example, I'm going to search for rocket clip art. So we're going to search for something that is going to be a new sprite. So then you're going to click on images. And then from here, what you're going to do is click on tools and click on color, and we're going to choose transparent. Okay. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is choose a style. So for example, I'm just going to click on this one right here, and make sure it has a transparent background. So if it doesn't, make sure it has that checkerboard pattern. What you're going to do is rest your pointer on it and then 2-finger click on your touchpad and choose Save Image As. And then from here, what we're going to do is give it a name that makes sense. Keep the dot and whatever numbers, or I'm sorry, whatever letters come after it. So for example, I'm just going to call it rocket .png and then click on Save. Okay, so then from here, we're going to click back into code.org, and we're going to click on the animation tab, and we're going to click on new animation. And then from here, you're going to click on upload image, and you're going to upload the image that you have. So if you double click on downloads, it should appear. There's my rocket, and then click on open. Okay, so then I'm just going to change the name so that we get rid of the .png. It doesn't let you do that at first, but we're going to do it now. And so then basically we've got our rocket, and you're going to click back over to code. So then from here, what we're going to need to do is actually code our rocket to move. So first we have to create the sprite and set the animation image. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to click on sprites, and then you're going to click and drag the VAR sprite block to go in line 2. Of course, we're going to need to change the name, so we're going to change it to rocket and make sure that all of our names match. Then what we're going to do is set the animation. So again, you're going to have to type in rocket, set animation, and then again, rocket. Make sure everything matches. Okay. So then what we're going to do next is we're going to draw a background. So in this case, we'll have a black background. So you're going to click on drawing, and then click and drag a background color to go in the draw loop. I'm just going to type in black, so that way it looks more like a night sky. And then at that point, what we can also do is we can include any, any other shapes that we want. So like, let's say for example, we want a couple of twinkling stars. What we can do is we can include a little ellipse. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give it a random X and a random Y. So I'm going to click on math, and just drag in the random number in for the X and the Y. And then I'm going to make them really tiny. So they're only going to be about 10 by 10. So in other words, 10 wide, 10 tall. So really tiny. And then I'm going to have them appear in a random location from 0 to 400. And do that the same with the Y. So that'll make it look kind of cool. So then we'll have some random, we'll have a little random star. If you want to have multiple random stars, I'm just going to click on show text because that's going to make it easier. You can just click and drag to highlight this text and then hit Control C and then do Control V. And I'm just going to do Control V a couple of times. So then we have kind of 4 random stars. I'm going to click on show blocks now because that's just going to make it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to click and drag to make this a bit taller. Okay, so now we're going to update the properties of the rocket using the counter pattern. First, I need to decide though where I want the sprite to start. If I put my pointer, let's say I want it to start at the bottom, maybe I would have it start like at 216 and 395 for X and Y. So I'm just going to change that to say 216 and 395. So that's going to make our rocket appear toward the bottom. But then what we want to do is we want to make it continuously go up until it leaves the screen. So then you're going to click on the, basically it's going to be under sprites. So you're going to click on sprites. And then what you're going to do is we're going to change the sprite Y. So we're just going to click and drag the sprite Y to go there. And then what we'll do is we'll make it so that it continues to get larger. So you would have to click on math in order to do that. And so then what you would do is click and drag. So we actually want to, in order for it to go up, we have to subtract from the Y value. So see, for example, we start down here at 395, but as we move up, the number actually gets smaller and smaller for the Y. So what you're going to do now is you're going to click on sprites, and then you're going to say sprite Y. So we're going to put that in that orange block. So sprite Y is now assigned sprite Y -1. And then from there, what you're going to do is if there's anything else, like for example, it's probably going to be pretty huge, you might want to change the sprite scale. So for example, I'm just going to click and drag the sprite scale, and I'm not sure how big this is going to be, but maybe I'll go with a 0.2. And then the last thing that you have to do, whoops, not right there. The last thing that you have to do, notice that it's coming up with these yellow kind of alerts. That's because of the fact that we still haven't changed it so that it says rocket. So you have to make sure that everything here says rocket. So rocket Y equals rocket Y -1, or is assigned rocket Y -1. Again, we want to make sure, again, rocket, everything has to have the same number. And so then we want to add the draw sprites, because basically we've assigned it all of these properties. Now we actually have to click on world and then click and drag the draw sprites block to go under where it says draw sprites. So now if we click on run, you'll notice that we have those random ellipses and we've got our rocket. Pretty cool, huh? And what you can do to make it faster, I'm just going to click on reset, is instead of doing -1, you can do a higher number. So for example, we'll do like -10. And if we hit run again, there it goes. And that's it.